Hey everyone, Spencer Jones here with another episode of the Jonesin 4 Show, your show that's here to help you live your life to the max, offer you those tools, those strategies, everything you need so that you can have your mind right, have that positive and abundant mindset, and be physically ready to take on the world and conquer your goals and reach your dreams. So let's jump into it, shall we? Well, today's episode is a solo show, so it's going to be you and I here together, and we are going to talk about response versus reaction. So, your response versus reaction. And we're going to talk how you can tell the two apart and how you can have the best response possible to something that happened, right, your stimulus and all that. Before we jump into it, though, real quick, if you could do me a huge favor, I would truly appreciate it and be very grateful if you could hit subscribe to our show, whether you're listening to this on your podcast platform or on, watching the video on YouTube or whatever. Hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you could leave a rating, a thumbs up, something like that, that would be awesome. That way, whatever platform you're using sees that this is giving you value and then shares it with other people so we can help more and more people live their lives to the max. All right, well, let's jump in. So response versus reaction. The two of them, right? What's the difference between the two? Well, they're kind of connected, in all honesty, and then they're different. So let's chat about it. Well, a reaction is something instinctive, right? It's reciprocal. It could be in opposition to, right? It's without thinking. A reaction is when you do something and it just happens, right? I stub my toe, I raise my foot up, usually a curse word pops out, right? That's a reaction. I don't think about it. It just happens. That's a reaction. Now, a response is a reaction taken to the next level. So a response is a reaction, as I said, but there's thought, there's intention behind it. So let's say if I stub my toe, instead of raising it up and cursing and swearing or whatever, I would raise it up and go, okay, all right, whoo, right? That's my response to stubbing my toe, right? It's different than maybe my reaction would be, right? My main reaction without thought, right? A response is still a reaction, but there's some thought to it. There's an intention behind it. Now, I use stubbing my toe as an example, but let's get a little deeper about it. Let's say someone's, being mean to you. They're being cruel. They're blaming you. They're yelling at you, right? And you're feeling that beating, that verbal garbage being thrown at you, and you start to notice, okay, I'm starting to feel upset and angry, and you could lash out at them. Well, are you thinking about lashing out? Are you controlling your response to them? Or are you just reacting and all of a sudden, boom, they're yelling at you. You feel like, oh, I have to yell back. So now I'm starting to yell. I'm starting to shout. I'm starting to just get my point across because they're yelling, I'm yelling. And how many times do fights escalate like this, right? If you look at, you look at reality TV. Wow, that was a hard one for me to come up with. But you look at reality TV. How many times do fights just escalate because if they can't control their reaction, their response, I should say, they're just reacting, right? One says one thing and that takes off another person, and then it just goes and goes and goes and goes until there's this huge thing. They're just reacting. They're not thinking about a response. They're not putting any intention behind it. I mean, maybe they are and it's amping it up more intentionally. I don't know. Haven't been on one. But you look in real life, you can even see family and probably friends who have done this at times. Heck, you've done it at times. At some point in your life, you have reacted to someone saying or doing something wrongly to you that you felt was wrong. You reacted. And that reaction wasn't probably the best choice that you did at the time, because maybe you didn't think about it. It just was a reaction. However, if you responded, right, you could calm down, you could approach it in a calmer manner, in a more positive way, or maybe you intentionally responded in a way that would bother the other person, right? We've seen people do this. Maybe you have done that in your life. I sadly admit I've done it in my life at points, and I'm trying not to do that anymore, right? So think about it. Your reaction versus response. We all do it. We all have reactions and we all have responses. The goal is to be more responsive to situations as opposed to reactive. We want to be more responsive and less reactive. So, big thing that comes into play. Let's just say, for ease of describing, there's 3 segments to life, right? To these situations that happen. We have the stimulus, that's the thing that happens. We have a pause, and then the response, right? So now sometimes you have a stimulus right to the reaction. That pause, it's there, but it's very, very tiny. It's just split second, right? Because your mind just goes up and reaction. There we go, right? There's no time to think. But the goal is to expand that pause to a little bit longer. Now, I'm not talking hours. I'm not talking days. It could be, I suppose, at times. I'm talking seconds, right? Just enough time to back away and think. And that's where I have these 5 strategies I'm going to share with you to help you during this pause. During this pause here, so that stimulus happens, you have the pause, and then you have your response. So let's talk about those 5 things you could do during that pause portion of this event that occurs. So how can you improve it? Well, first and foremost, that fits within everything. Actually, I wouldn't even call this first. This is the encompassing idea, and that is to be mindful. To be mindful, right? And mindfulness is basically just being aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, and other people's thoughts and feelings. You're being mindful in this pause, in this moment. So here are 5 things you could do to help you be more mindful and have a constructive time, right? As opposed to a destructive time, right? Reaction, probably destructive. Reaction is destructive. Response, not. So I'm sorry if I confused you there. All right, first thing to do is to be aware. Just be aware. Open up your senses. Be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, their feelings and emotions that you could see, right? So this can apply to anything. This could apply to someone else talking with you. It could be, but it doesn't have to be just that. It could be watching a movie or reading something. I don't know, right? Whatever it is, it could still apply to it. Some of these you might have to tweak a little bit, but the ideas still work. So the first one is to be aware. Be aware of your emotions. Don't judge them. Don't critique yourself or the other person or whatever you are realizing or noticing. Don't judge it. Just be aware. Just notice it. Notice these emotions. Am I angry? Am I upset? Am I embarrassed? Am I excited? Are they any of those feelings? Again, no judgment. It's not good or bad. Not worry about that. You're just being aware. Then try to work and realize that motivation behind your personal emotions, feelings about that situation. So let's say someone's, just berating you, making you feel worthless and weak, and that makes you then feel sad, feels worthless, like you're less of a person, right? That makes you feel like you're not enough. So you are aware, you realize that those are the feelings you feel, right? And then you realize the motivation behind it. Why do you feel that way? And it could be, okay, well, they're saying these things to me, but why are you not confident in yourself enough to know that that's not true? So now maybe it takes a little bit of digging, right? To go like, okay, why don't I feel this way? Maybe it's because, I didn't get enough sleep last night. I just don't feel good. Okay, there could be motivation why you have those feelings or emotions. Or maybe it's even seated a little bit farther back in your life, right? A couple of years ago, or maybe even from, your childhood, not to get psychoanalytical, but maybe something that your parents said or did or sibling that just always made you feel a little worthless and that you kind of carried through in your life. Maybe that's why. Again, you're not blaming anyone. You're not judging it. It's not good or bad. You're just realizing it. So you realize that motivation behind your feelings. Then maybe you can take a look and see or try to figure out realize the motivation behind the other person acting that way. Why are they angry at you? Why are they really angry? Right? Sometimes, if you get angry at someone else and then you go through that day, you might be angry at other people, or you're quicker to being angry at other people. And it's not that, you're mad at them. It's just the situation before that carried through. You've probably had people do that to you, where they were angry at their kids or something bad happened at work. Well, then they come home and now they're mad at you very quickly for something that you never did, or they're blowing out of proportion, right? They're taking their anger out on you. Maybe that's what this person's doing. Maybe that's what's the cause in this situation. Again, there's no judgment, which is really, really hard to let go of. Trust me, it is hard. We are shown over and over and over and over again in media, in life, that we should judge, right? If you're a religious person, they tell you not to judge. But what do we are told everywhere else? To judge. And it's so hard to let go of that. So try to realize your motivation, their motivation, and just, again, being aware. So that's steps 1 and 2. The third one is to be empathetic. Be empathetic of the other person. Now, if this isn't from another person, if it's from a story or something else, maybe you're reading or watching, this could still apply, maybe not to the same degree. But be empathetic. Try to walk a mile in their shoes, figuratively, right? What are they going through? Maybe, as I said, they're having a really rough day, and they're taking out. They don't mean to, it's not intentional, they're just really struggling, and this is how they're taking it out. And it's not intentional. That could be. Right? Be empathetic. Walk a mile in their shoes. Be understanding. Be caring. Offer grace to them. Right? Just be like, okay, I get it. And what that means is, you're just not letting that negative energy, that bad whatever stuff you don't want in your life to latch on. Be empathetic. Then, number 4, and that is choose how to react and how you're going to follow through. Actually, you know what? We'll just say choose to react, because number 5 is to follow through. So 4 is how are you going to react? How are you going to react to that situation, to that stimulus? So you've already been through this whole step. This all happens in that pause, and you're smart. It might take you a little time at first. It might take you longer than you like at first, but over time you're getting faster and faster and faster at this, so it just takes seconds. So first you become aware, then you realize the motivation for yourself and them, and then you're empathetic, and then you choose, how am I going to respond to this stimuli? How am I going to? Is it good? Is it bad? Am I, you're not reacting anymore. You're not doing a quick, without thought, without intention reaction. You're now responding. It's a reaction with an intent, with a thought behind it, because you're thinking about it. You're putting some intention behind your response. And that is huge. It can make all the difference in the world. So then step 5, which I already said, is to follow through. Take that action. Respond. That's it. Respond, right? So you have your stimulus that happens to you. Whatever it is, it happened. Then you have that pause. And in that pause is when you want to be mindful. And as you're being mindful, you're doing these following steps. So 1, you're being aware. 2, you are realizing the motivation for your feelings and emotions, their feelings and emotions, why they're expressing that this way, or how they're treating you or acting, right? And gauge your responses, your feelings. And 3, be empathetic. Be understanding, be caring, offer grace, kindness. Then choose how to react. How are you going to respond to the situation, right? You're picking. You have a plethora of options ahead of you. You get to pick the best one that you feel is the best in that moment. And then that's it for the pause. Now you respond. So step 5 is that respond to it. Follow through with the that response that you picked. Follow through. This takes time. I'm not going to lie, right? It's that pause in there. Now, these pauses, when you first start, can take time. And I remember teaching this in a class, and someone asked, how long is that pause? Can it be days? Like, yeah, it can be, right? If you stub your toe, are you going to wait days for the reaction? Probably not. But if someone's berating you, belittling you, maybe you take a couple days just to go through it, to process, and then respond. That's all right. But the more you do it, the more you realize that some of those internal motivations for those emotions, feelings, they all kind of tie to a handful of things. So it's easier to name after you do this a couple times. So then it becomes faster to go, oh, this is what's happening. Okay, I see kind of how they're going through this. I think I know, or I think I understand why. I'm going to offer grace no matter what. Be understanding. Great. This is the best response, and go. And it can happen within seconds or minutes or days. But you got this. Don't just react. Don't just give a, without thought, just a reciprocal or an instinctive answer. Don't do that. Give it some forethought. Take that time and that pause to actually pause, to be mindful, go through those steps, and respond in a way that's going to help you and help the other person. Because you are not going to get far in life if you keep berating people, if you belittle people. Maybe they're belittling you, and so you feel that you have the right to belittle them. It's a lose-lose situation. Let it go. Drop the ego. Drop the bravado. As hard as it is, trust me, it's hard. I have a huge ego. I want to stand up for myself. But sometimes, I'll stand up for myself. Don't get me wrong. I'll stand up for myself. But at times, we just need to let it go because guess what? It's not all that important. All right? And then you can respond accordingly. And do it in a way that's going to be beneficial to you and to them and to the world at large. So choose your responses. Don't just react. Respond. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in today's Jonesin 4 show. I would love to know your thoughts about this episode. So let me know. Do me a favor, take a screenshot of this and share it up on social media, on Instagram or Facebook. Tag me. It's at Jonesin4 and let me know your thoughts about it. And, share it up with your friends, your family. Tell them to subscribe and join us. And again, if you haven't left a rating yet, I would appreciate it, or a thumbs up, something so that we can help even more people live their lives to the max. So keep bringing it, keep rocking, keep being you, because you're awesome. So keep rocking it, keep owning it, and until next time, we'll catch y'all later. Hey everyone, Spencer Jones, and I'm sorry to butt in like this, but I'll keep this really short and sweet. I want to help you live your life to the max. I want to help you chase your passions to get the most out of life. And I wrote a book to help you do that. It's my latest book. It's called Chase Your Passions. It's available on Amazon, and I know it can help you change your life and help you live your life to the max. It's basically in the book, I walk you through how to create the ultimate roadmap to success. Whatever that success looks like for you, it walks you through it. Everybody has a different roadmap because everybody's dream, everybody's goal is different. So everybody's roadmap is going to be different. But this book helps you, guides you in creating your personal roadmap to success. So folks, don't delay. Get on Amazon and just look up Chase Your Passions. I put Spencer Jones in there too, just to be safe, so it pulls up right away. Or go to my website, spencermjones.com, and get your copy of it today. And heck, get the Priorities of Practice journal with it, because that companion journal, that makes it that much sweeter. All right, folks, thanks for listening. I told you I'd keep it short and sweet. Catch you soon.